on this hillside. Devin has no brakes, and we're waiting in line to make it up. Oh damn, it's hella steep. Woo! Scared, boy?
Yes.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be replacing a brake line, and I'm also going to be showing you how to bleed out your system and refill your brake fluid. Over 4th of July weekend I ended up ripping out my rear right, so that's the only one we're going to be replacing, but you'll get the idea for all the others if you happen to rip a different one out. If you just need to re-bleed your brakes, you can also follow this. Let's get started. Alright, so your first step is going to be remove the hose clamps that hold your brake line. As you can see, mine ripped completely out. You're going to have a hose clamp here and a hose clamp here. Both are 10 millimeter. They are two different lengths. This one on the frame takes the longer bolt. Once you have that disconnected, there are a couple of ties back there. It's kind of hard to see. One under each side of your motor. The one on the driver's side is easy to get to. The one on this passenger side, you're going to want to remove the skid plate, the small metal one that sits right underneath your motor, and then you'll be able to reach up and get that. From there, you're going to disconnect it from your caliper. This is going to be a 13 millimeter socket. Probably a good idea to have a little bit something to catch a little bit of brake fluid that may come out. Alright, as you're backing this out, you're going to want to make sure you do not lose either one of these copper washers. Make sure you save them. Try not to damage them. You're going to be reusing those along with the bolt later. Okay, now that you have everything disconnected, securing the brake line, including these two rubber twist ties, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the brake line from here. You're going to need an 11 millimeter open end wrench. We're just going to go ahead and undo it, pull the brake line out, and then thread the new one through. So it is a very tight space in here, so if you feel like you need more room, you can drop at least the back end of your skid plate to where you can get a little bit more room to turn your wrench. Otherwise, it is doable without doing that. You'll just have to alternate flipping your wrench around. And once you get it almost undone, go ahead and just throw like a rag underneath it, help keep your space a little cleaner. And then once you have it undone, we're just going to go to the other side and pull it out. So we have an OEM brake line replacement. You can shop around with your local dealers, see what kind of price they have. My local dealer was very expensive, so I found this one online at cfmoto USA Parts. I'm not linked with them at all, but they definitely had the best price I could find. Alright, so now we're going to trace the new brake line through. I'm going to go in with it, I don't know if you can tell on that, it's kind of angled up, just so I don't drag the tip of that across any dirt that's in that channel still. But I'm just going to go ahead, push it through. I'm going to get it fastened in on that side, and then I will make sure that I have the orientation on the caliper side right, and then do the hose clamps and the wire ties. So I now got it back in. It's not completely tight. I can still move it. It's not sucked up. I don't want to tighten this because I am probably going to have to twist this brake line, and I want it to be able to freely spin. And then once we get all that, we'll go through and we'll tighten that up. Now we're going to go ahead and attach this in back to the caliper. I went ahead, it'd be a good idea, wipe down the mating surface. If you feel like there's extra grit or corrosion, you can spray some brake cleaner on your rag and wipe it down with that. So as you're putting this back together, make sure that you have your copper washer, one stacked on either side. Alright, so now we got our hose clamps hooked back up. You want to try to keep them between these two white lines. Remember, the one that goes up here on your frame is the longer bolt that you took out. Once I got these two fastened, got the brake line in a position that I liked. I don't want it hanging below the A-arm. So I got that all in a place I like. Everywhere the brake line makes contact has the extra protection. So then I went ahead and tightened up your bolt to the caliper. I couldn't find a torque spec on it, so what I did is I went until you feel it seat, and then just give it about a quarter turn after that. You don't want to go too tight, you'll smash your copper washers, but just make sure it's secure, not over tight. So now I'm going to finish up tightening it here. Once I have it tight, then I'll go back and secure it down in that channel with those metal ties. So after we're done with this, we're going to be ready to start bleeding the system. All right, before you get started, you're going to want to make sure you have a vacuum pump so that you can bleed your lines out. You're also going to need to get some new brake fluid. .3 or .4 will work, doesn't matter either one. From there, it will be easier if you have two people. As you're pumping your brake lines, your master cylinder level is going to drop, so it'd be easy if you have someone to keep filling your reservoir. I got my helper right here, rocking the new Reaper Roads hat. We are working on maybe getting some of them available soon. So you're going to start by removing the reservoir cap. You don't have to remove the hood and the cargo box to do this. It will make it easier. I've ran wire into that cargo box, so I'm not going to do that. But you're going to want to remove that cap. Make sure it's clean before you remove it so you don't get a bunch of dirt inside. And then fill it up. And as you're pumping, you're going to want your helper to fill it, but not go over the upper limit line. All right, so when you pull your cap off, there is a rubber cup inside. Make sure you pull that out too. But go ahead and fill it up to your upper limit. Once your reservoir is full, go ahead and remove the rubber protective cap off your bleed screw. You're gonna go ahead and attach your pump to the screw. And then after it's attached, go ahead and break it loose. Mine is an 8mm. Some of the other machines may have 10mm. But once you have it cracked open, start pumping. Okay, so you're going to be pumping this. If you got one that has a pressure gauge, it might tell you not to go over a certain PSI. You're going to want to pump it though until you stop getting bubbles. So you're going to want to pump until you, like I said, you have no bubbles until you get a fair amount of fluid in your cup. If it feels like you're pumping forever and you're not getting anything, you can go ahead and crack this open and just pump the brakes a few times till you start getting fluid, then finish it out with your hand pump. Okay, so once you're done bleeding your brake, go ahead and top off your reservoir one more time, check your brake pedal, see how it feels. I actually only had to bleed the one side, even with ripping out a line. My brake pedal felt good. Take yours for a test drive. I'm stopping fine. So if you're still having a squishy pedal or not feeling like you're stopping, you can go around one caliper at a time and bleed those two. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.